Welcome back to The Lead. Now it's time for the Politics Lead. Call it the canary in the coal mine on Capitol Hill. The coal mine is the deeply divided House of Representatives, and rigor mortis is already setting in for the canary. The $500 billion farm bill just imploded in the House in a defeat that speaks volumes about what's happening, or more accurately, what's not happening on Capitol Hill. The GOP says the Dems torpedoed the bill by pulling support at the last minute, but Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi pegged it all on the Republican leadership.
If we ever came to you when we had the majority and said we didn't pass a bill because we didn't get enough Republican votes, well, you know, that's really, it's silly. It's sad. It's juvenile. It's unprofessional. It's amateur hour. Anything else?
Anything else? I love that. Anything else? Well, for starters, everyone wants to know if the same partisan problem is in store for the immigration reform bill, which could see a vote in the Senate as soon as Monday night on a key amendment on border security. Let's bring in our political panel to hash it out. CNN political contributor and Democratic strategist Donna Brazile, former spokeswoman for Rick Santorum, Alice Stewart, and CNN's chief political analyst, Gloria Borger. Gloria, can the House get its act together or no? That's...
I don't, there is such dysfunction there now that you'd have to be Pollyanna to say, oh, yeah, suddenly they're going to get over this, they're going to pass immigration reform. Immigration reform is going to pass out of the Senate probably with a very big margin. And now that the House Speaker has said that he needs to have a majority of his majority and lay down the law, because, by the way, he needed to keep his speakership. Right. And that was probably a prerequisite for keeping his speakership. I don't see how you get around that. I really don't. So I think that at a certain point, unless the Democrats are willing to do what Nancy Pelosi said they were not willing to do on this farm bill, it's going to be very difficult. Maybe the Democrats will save the day.
Well, I keep saying Speaker Pelosi, but it's Leader Pelosi.
Right.
Leader Pelosi made it very clear, if you want our vote, you must basically have our input. What the Republicans want, they want their cake and they want to eat it as well, plus ice cream. And she's been very clear that Democrats will support these measures if Democrats are able to have some input. Without it, they basically have to rally their base to get everybody on board.
Alice, what are you hearing from Republicans on Capitol Hill? Do they think that immigration reform has a chance in the House?
Well, if we can continue to make sure that border security is a top priority, and that's always been what the conservative Republican group has said, is that has to be the top priority.
Is this new amendment that is being introduced by Corker and Hoven and that might be voted on Monday, is that going to be enough?
That's a great first start, and from what I'm hearing, that will be enough to help to bridge the divide. But that's the key, and they've always been saying that's going to be key, is making sure that that's the top priority and not going ahead with what is, for all intents and purposes, amnesty. And here's the key, is that this is one of the many issues, is that I've been in a governor when you have a divided House and Senate in legislative process. Right. It starts with the top. It starts with having conversations from the front end. And Alex Conant, Marco Rubio's spokesperson, said it too. If legislation is like sausage making, then the Obama administration is like a bunch of vegetarians. We have to have these conversations on the front end, not when we're running up against a deadline. Here we have July 4th, another deadline.
But when you talk to people at the White House, their point of view is, look, we can't get publicly involved in this because we're going to hurt Republicans who actually want to vote for this bill. We kind of get in the way. But behind the scenes, they are talking to staffers on the Republican side. They are talking to staffers. And
that's actually being held against. The fact that these conversations are going on behind closed doors is being used against Marco Rubio and other Republicans
but they're trying.
By conservatives who oppose the bill.
Because two-thirds of Republicans are in these so-called gerrymandered districts, and they're afraid of getting primaries. So they don't want to work with the Obama administration. They want to campaign against the Obama administration. They want to campaign against Democrats. But going back to what Alice said...
I think there actually are people who actually oppose this immigration reform bill as well.
No question. I mean, but since 2007, we have met every metric on border security that's been laid out. 2007 was the last time we had an immigration reform measure put up, and then it failed. We have 1,969 miles of the border. I mean, we've spent billions of dollars. I don't think that's the real issue. The real issue is the whole citizenship issue. And many Republicans have a problem with that. Steve King Amendment, the Anti-Dreamer Act, once again show that the Republican Party has a problem with.
I want to give Alice the last word, but here's my question, because you're out in the real world talking to grassroots Republicans. Is it enough to have all this new border security if the price is all these new citizens who were originally undocumented illegal immigrants?
Well, we can't have automatic amnesty, and that's the key. And what needs to happen is those here in D.C. need to look at not what's best for their next election. They need to look at what's best for the big picture. And border security is the first thing. And we need to stop the river of the flooding of people coming across the border and bring it down to a trickle. But that's the most important thing. And then we need to make sure that those that are here illegally go to the back of the line and start the legal process after that. But border security is the most important.
All right, Alice Stewart down in Brazil, Gloria Borger, thank you so much.